Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today is an unbox video of a CGC 9.8 comic book that I've mentioned here on the channel in the past few months. Like, I really wanted this comic book and I was hunting for one in the CGC 9.8. So luckily I was able to get one for a decent price. Yeah, and we'll kind of get into all the pricing information here in a second. Another thing about this book, I grabbed it from within Canada, from a Canadian seller, so shipping was more than reasonable and kind of came to me really fast, which was nice. Now, so the thing that just kind of makes this comic book sort of 100% kind of my style is I just really love the cover on it. I think it's probably one of the best covers to have come out in the last year in all of comic books. So it is a modern comic book, and yeah, I boiled it down to 3 reasons why I ended up kind of pulling the trigger and making the purchase. So let's just get right into it, though. Newest addition to the collection here. Again, the cover just captivated me, and we'll get into some of the reasonings. But newest addition is a Spawn number 306, the McFarlane gunslinger variant here with the close-up of Spawn's face, kind of smoking a little cigarette here. But yeah, just a classic McFarlane, and yeah, when it came out, it was just a cover that I felt like I needed to have, and it being a little bit more of a rare variant is nice too. So yeah, Spawn 306, a new book, just came out in March of this year. Let's have a look on the census here. This is the McFarlane variant of it, so a little bit more rare variant for Spawn 306. 52 CGC 9.8s on the blue label there. And having a look on the census, this is certainly the most popular Spawn 306. Like, the first print has like 10 9.8s. And there's a couple other variants that have kind of single-digit 9.8, so this is really the one that the collector community has kind of gone after, and it's probably because they just feel the same as I do. Like, just classic McFarlane. Nailed it. Like, if you think McFarlane's kind of lost his touch or something, just have a look at this cover, and no, it's absolutely awesome. So a 52, a 1 of 52 collector item out there for a Spawn fan, I think is pretty cool. 94.5% is the 9.8 ratio, so of all graded copies, 94.5% of them are 9.8s. I think it was like, there's 52 9.8s, and it was like 59 total graded copies, so most of them are 9.8s. A brand new book, so yeah, I think a lot of people just really love this cover right away, instantly send it into CGC, and that's how you get all these 9.8s out there. So more of a collector item than kind of a rare 9.8 or anything. And it is a modern book, so you expect that, I would guess. But Spawn 306, you know, just a cover that captivated me. And we'll get into the kind of the 3 reasons really quick here. But let's get into the price. Because sort of saw a range of prices on this one. And I ended up grabbing mine for $132.50. So $132.50 American dollars. And, you know, I did mention I grabbed it from within Canada, so I probably saved about $10 on the shipping compared to what I'm normally used to. It was pretty, you know, more than reasonable shipping for sure. So $132.50, we talk about, you know, did I get a deal or not? I've sort of saw some listings here. I've been following this one quite often, and most of the times I had to sort of lay off because the shipping was like $40 or $50 from the US. But I saw some auctions for this comic book go in the CGC 9.8 for about just over $100. Like, I think one auction was like $102.50 and the other one was like $107 or something like that. Now, I have saw this book sort of sell for basically like $135. I remember that. I think $129.99 a couple had sort of sold in a buy it now. So at my price, $132.50, I think it's going to be a little bit near the higher end of fair market value for this book, but still a fair value. I think, you know, if you really want this book, like, what's 10 or 20 bucks, whether you're paying $105 or you know, $135. Like me, it didn't make too much of a difference for me because I do think this one has a little bit of potential just based on sort of the coolness of the cover. And let's get into the 3 reasons why I ended up kind of pulling the trigger for Spawn 306, the McFarlane variant. So, first reason I alluded to, I think this is the coolest cover in like all of comic books just to come out in the last year, basically. Like, no other cover really was just, for me, like, wow, I need to have that. Don't even care if there's a first appearance, don't care of anything. Just a classic, you know, Todd McFarlane cover. And I'm a huge Todd McFarlane fan, so probably a subjective thing. And there's certainly amazing covers that have come out in the last year, so definitely a subjective reason. But really just love this cover, and it was kind of one of those, as soon as I saw it, I wanted it kind of thing. Yeah, the kind of Spawn gunslinger smoking a little cigarette. So the second reason here is more of a personal reason why I think I was so kind of attracted to this, because occasionally I like to smoke a little bit of weed, to be honest, in my sort of, after hours when I'm just trying to relax and stuff like that. So I just thought it was really cool, like Spawn's kind of smoking a little cigarette and, or a little joint, and it actually looks kind of more like a joint than a cigarette, to be honest. So he probably is. I'm gonna say that he's smoking weed in this cover. So that was just why it's kind of just 100% my style. I think that was maybe a small reason why I was attracted to it, and of course the awesome Todd McFarlane art as well. So that's the second reason. Yeah, just 100% my style, with me having a little bit of a weed habit. And the third reason here is I have a feeling that this could be sort of a $180 to $200 9.8 over time, just based on the coolness of the cover. Because there's a couple, 9.8s that come to mind that they're not really key issues or anything, but just the coolness of the cover has sort of, it's become so wanted by collectors that they, 9.8s of those type of books end up going, upwards of $200. Like, the one I'm kind of thinking of off the top of my head is Amazing Spider-Man 608, the Black Cat kind of pin-up cover, J. Scott Campbell cover, the coolest Black Cat, cover out there, I think, Amazing Spider-Man 608. In the CGC 9.8, that's sort of like 180, 190, like it's really tough to get it near 150. And a lot of times you see people kind of buy it now, that book, for $199.99, maybe even a little over $200. And it's all just based on the coolness. Like, that is the Black Cat cover to get. I have one. That was another one where, very similar situation to this. Like, I just saw the cover and I was like, I want it. And that's really what kind of went down with this comic book here. The Spawn 306. So, yeah, at, if you can get this, from $100 to $120, let's call it, I think the future for this book is sort of closer to $200, just because it's such a cool cover. And already now you see a lot online. There's a lot of sort of buy it nows for around that $200 price mark. And I do have a feeling, I think this one has that potential to get up to that $200 mark and sort of, stick around that sort of 180 to 200 mark in the CGC 9.8, just based on the coolness of the cover, And for this 9.82, another thing I was really happy about, it's just a primo copy. Yeah, you could really tell it's kind of a new modern book that was unread, untouched. Case is flawless, no Newton rings, no kind of scuffs or scratches. So from that perspective, really happy with the order. And got it in Canada, so shipping was more reasonable than normal and faster. So yeah, really good, really happy order, I think, for me all around. And so, this is one that I was really hunting, and such a cool cover. Yeah, really happy I could share it with everyone on the Unbox here. So, concluding up, for modern Spawn comic books, I think this is the coolest cover going. You might want to have a look at Spawn 301. Spawn 301 is kind of the record-breaking issue. I like that Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage for Spawn 301, personally. So that might be another a modern Spawn book to get. But, this is really, I feel like this is more of a collector item. And I've talked on, videos before, like, some 9.8s I buy as collector items, and other 9.8s I buy as, like, investment grade books, like, and I expect a little more from them. This book, I think, is more of a collector item. If you're a Spawn fan and you're looking for, like, investment grade Spawn books, I think, like, Spawn #1 Newsstand in the CGC 9.8 is a great one. I got one of those. And the other one I'll recommend for a really great investment grade Spawn book is Spawn #1 Black and White, which was a reprint of Spawn #1 a little bit later in the 90s there. That was very low printed. And in the CGC 9.8, that one's over $1,000 usually. So those are two, if you want an investment grade Spawn book, those I would recommend those two. But this one just fits right in as sort of a great Spawn collector item. And, certainly if you're like me, you like to smoke a couple joints every now and then, this one's even better. But if not, just such a cool cover. And I do, even though it's a collector item, I do think it has that, you can buy now for the low hundreds. and then in a year or two, you know, this will just be one that's wanted by Spawn collectors, and I'm sure a lot of new Spawn collectors will come into the market and see it and just go, I want it, like sort of how I felt. So I think it's got that potential to kind of get up to that $200 mark over time, which, you know, is great. I mean, it's all about the pride of ownership, I think, for a book like this, but to get a little bit of price appreciation might be nice too, but still wouldn't expect sort of a big investment type of potential for this book, just maybe a little bit of potential. So yeah, very happy I could share my new CGC 9.8 with the team. And if you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Yeah, I would love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. And hit the bell for all the video notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter too. I'll have all the links in the description below. Give the video a like too. I think that kind of puts us more in the kind of YouTube algorithm at the top or something like that. So that would be really appreciated too. But yeah, another unbox video today. Really happy with this one. And I mean, if you're a big Spawn fan, big McFarlane fan, and I think this is one to get around $100 in the CGC 9.8. Hopefully closer to 100 than me, you know, 132.50 with me. Maybe a bit of a pay up, maybe a bit near the higher end of fair market value. But thank you so much for watching today. Really appreciate all the support. Message me on Instagram if you do have any messages or you want to get a hold of me for whatever reason. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next one.